I love the smell of old, wet, musty wallpaper in the morning.
Greetings from Fairfield. We are Richard and Kendra, and we are restoring this cool old Victorian house. We found this old Queen Anne for sale on the internet and decided to buy it. So we moved from the West Coast to the cornfields of Iowa. So join us as we explore and restore this 1896 Victorian mansion.
Hello, greetings from Fairfield. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our house. Let's start by, we got asked why we were using the DIF versus a steamer or other internet concoctions to remove the wallpaper. When we first moved into the house, one of the first projects that we did, which we didn't film before we started the YouTube channel, was our library. And we had tried a variety of different techniques to see which one would work the best. We went through steamers, which basically, it would remove the wallpaper, but it would destroy what was underneath it. So that made whatever was underneath the current paper, completely pointless to try to save. So we scrapped that idea and moved on to some other concoctions that were suggested online, fabric softeners and vinegars and other things like that. Same result. It would either remove both of them or it would destroy what was underneath. The paper tiger, which I had mentioned in a previous video, just shreds the whole thing and just makes a giant mess. And ended up with the DIF because it's a concentrate. It makes up to 2 gallons and it's like $8. And so for in here, in this room, which we finished, it was like 1.5 bottles. So like basically $12 to strip all of this in one layer at a time, taking our time, being careful, because we not only wanted to save what was behind it, but we also didn't want to make the mistake of like ruining what was underneath, because when we did the dining room, again, before we started the YouTube channel, we found remnants of old flocked wallpaper where the old phone likely was. And we also found drawings on the wall. Somebody had drawn a target, like for target practice or something, like a bullseye on the dining room wall, which was hilarious. But we found, in being very careful, we found 2 new discoveries after we wrapped on last week's video, which is kind of funny and basically proves my point. Because I had missed taking down a piece of wallpaper. And it was like literally the last piece. And what was so funny was I'm literally pulling off the last piece. We weren't even filming. And right here, which is going to be really hard to see, somebody had drawn a box and there's a note written in here. Unfortunately, after I peeled this away and saw that, I immediately stopped to tell that whatever was here, this was almost wiped clean when they put this wallpaper up in 1945. And it's almost impossible to read. So likely, that would have been the original note, which might explain why Mr. William Cupp chose to sign his name here, because he ruined whoever was here. And so, that's why we take our time and carefully take this stuff back, because you never know what you're going to find. And so that's unfortunate, because that would have been neat to know. And then next, we found where they started putting the paper up and found the plumb line of where he would have started placing his paper. Hey, guess what?
What?
This wallpaper, this piece right here, this was the first one they put on.
How do you know that?
Because when you install wallpaper, you got to put a line on there. To line to. And there's your line. Ta-da! Which is kind of funny, because I was going to use, this was going to be my first piece anyway, because I need to align it to this. I want the pattern to match. Same wallpaper, different color. We want the flowers in the right place. So I was already planning on starting here so I can align it. Now we've already got the line. And I figured that guy started here for a reason, and he probably knows more than I do. Plaster was actually in really good shape. Hardly any cracking, a few tiny little holes to fill in where they probably hung pictures or something. And little crack here. They did some patch here. Either they kind of messed up or they moved the switch box over maybe. I don't know, but decent enough. I don't think we'll have to mess with that. But like I said, a little crack there. Got a little crumble in here. But for the most part, everything's pretty solid. And so these are radiator pipes. Somebody asked in the last video. Go up to the radiator on the floor above us. So yeah, that was a little hard to work around. But yeah, I guess let's roll up our sleeves and get started. All right, now that we got all the wallpaper down, we can move on to the next step.
Can we put the new wallpaper up?
No. Next, we gotta clean the plaster. We gotta get all that old musty paste off the plaster.
This is the pine sol that cleans the dirt and cuts the grease and kills the germs that can cause the odors in your house. This is the pine sol that cleans the grime and stops the mold and mildew too in your house. This is the pine sol that cleans the rooms and kills the germs and leaves a scent so fresh and clean in your house. Let pine sol liquid clean, disinfect, and deodorize anywhere in your house.
All right, so we're gonna get started. This is what I found to be the most effective. And so you get these on Amazon, like $10. Changeable scouring pad cleaners and pine sol. Pine sol will get rid of the residue. Also helps it'll clean and prevent or clean the mold, clean the glue. Just spray it on, and that wall will come pretty clean. Of course, I don't need to tell you all that. You just saw the commercial. You will have to wash this. You see all that building up. But I found this to be the quickest and most effective. Ta-da! So that may vary depending on the type of paste that was used. This paste, 1945, 80 years old. It was likely a wheat-based paste. Talk more about that later. But it works really good. All right, so basically, as you keep this rinsed off and clean, then you want to come back, have a little water and a sponge, just to give it a nice clean wipe. Basically a wax on, wax off. The other great thing about pine sol is it'll make everything smell all clean and fresh. Get rid of that wallpaper, that old wallpaper paste smell. There's more holes in here than I thought there'd be. There's more over here. They have pictures all over this wall. Holy cow. But anyway, when you're done, the whole room will just smell all lemony fresh. Or piney fresh. I don't know. If anybody's got a better solution, let me know. But I found this to work out pretty darn good. Look at that. That's lickety split. It look pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Don't need to bore you with all this in real time, so maybe we'll cut some time lapse and finish this off. Piney fresh. All right, now we can move on to the next step.
Now can we put up the new wallpaper?
No, next we gotta patch the plaster.
Aww.
All right, well, I guess that'll about do it. I guess we can move on to the next step.
Now can we put up the new wallpaper?
No. Next we gotta put up the wall liner.
What's wall liner?
What's wall liner? That's a good question. Basically, it's like wallpapering twice. I know what you're thinking, like, why would I want to torment myself doing wallpaper twice? Well, for starters, it's good practice. And second, this plaster is 130 years old. And if you have an old house and you do an old plaster, it's old, it's brittle. It needs something to help hold it together. Actually, I didn't know about this until I watched an episode of Restoration Nation. So shout out to Kevin and Lane there, because she went through and talked about the importance of wall liner. And I thought I'd give it a go. And you know, prep is always key. And this stuff is really, really good. It's cheap. It's like 20 bucks a roll. And comes in a roll. It's tough stuff. And so this is 130 years old. And so it's brittle, it cracks. And I mean, considering how long it's been up there, the wallpaper holds it together. So if the house shifts or settles, gets hit by a truck, it'll keep it together. That's a true story. Talk more about that later, but the wall liner is gonna help hold it together. Basically put it on, like wallpaper, you glue it, you brush it on there, except you put this up horizontally this way. So the other thing the liner does is it'll smooth the wall out. So any imperfections and bumps, like where they have old patches, it's going to smooth it out and make it nice and smooth, so you have a nice even surface to put your wallpaper on. Basically what you end up with is this kind of like 2 layers of wallpaper sort of basket weave together for strength. That's going to keep that plaster together. And so definitely worth the money spent to do something like that. You know, so your paper doesn't start ripping, start showing cracks, which we have seen in the house. Matter of fact, even if you wanted to paint your plaster, though I don't recommend it, but I mean, if you wanted to ruin your house, go ahead and paint it. But I'd still recommend, there's a paintable version, it's a few bucks more, and this will help hold your plaster together, and then you can paint your wall some boring color. But previous owners had done that on one of the rooms and went through a lot of time, a lot of prep. They probably skim coated the whole room because the walls were perfectly smooth. They didn't look anything like this. Like, you couldn't just paint this as is without being able to see all the bumps and bruises on the plaster. A week later, it had already cracked. And so they were super disappointed because they put all that extra effort into trying to make it look good just to have it crack on them a week later. And so, and before anybody panics or worries, this crack hasn't gotten any worse, and that was 25 years ago. So let's roll. Ta-da! Well, highly recommend using the wall liner on that. That really smoothed out the wall. Took out all the bumps and bruises there. Really nice stuff. So, like I said, Restoration Nation, shout out. That stuff works great, guys. And I'll leave a link for the brand that I used in the description down below, so you can check it out. But other than that, I think we're about done here.
Now can we put up the new wallpaper?
Yes.
Yay!
In our next video.
Uh.